They left it inside.
Right there.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I want to advise those present that notice of this regular meeting of the Housing Authority of the City of Hoboken has been provided to the public in accordance with provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act. Notice of this regular monthly January board meeting was given by publication of the annual meeting notice of the authority with amendments as necessary. Was sent to the Star Ledger on Tuesday, December 29, 2025, and sent to the city clerk of Hoboken on Tuesday, December 29, 2025, with a copy of the agenda to be posted on bulletin board in City Hall, Hoboken Library, and Hoboken Police Department, and posted on the authority website on Tuesday, December 29, 2025. I direct the minutes of this meeting to state that I have announced that adequate notice of this meeting has been given as required by the Open Public Meetings Act. Director, could you call the vote? Could you do the roll call?
Yes, David Edwards, here. Anthony Forbes.
Present.
Barbara Reyes.
Present.
Jean Rodriguez. James Sanford. Erica Seitzman.
Present.
Carmen Vega.
Before we start, I'd like to put a motion on the floor to suspend the agenda so that we can have our auditor speak to us about the audit. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Forbes, are you okay with that?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Mr. Bocani? Yes, you can.
So we're going to resolution 0102, correct?
Correct. If you want to do that, you should put the resolution itself on the floor. Otherwise, you could just have the discussion and then.
We want to vote on it later. We're not going to vote on it.
That's essentially what I'm asking you.
Yeah,
if you want to vote on it immediately after, you could have a motion a second now. Otherwise, you could hold it until it's spot on in the agenda.
Okay.
You just resume the regular agenda.
We'll wait till it's on.
And
the
that's where we are now, so that's fine.
Yes.
Okay.
Mike, long time no see.
Yeah, how you doing? How you doing? Okay, so I'll start off with the overview of the financial statements.
This is the court reporter. Excuse me, this is the court reporter. Can I have your name, please?
Oh, Michael Maurice.
Thank you.
Okay. So I'll, just to begin, the overview of the audit report for September 30, 2024. The Housing Authority received an unmodified opinion on the financial statements. That's the best opinion that you can get. That means that the statements were, that there were no deviations from GAAP. They were fine. So on the overall financial position, our total net position went from 12.8 million to 23.6 million. That was an improvement of roughly $10 million. That broke out between invested in net assets, an increase of 8 million, and an increase of 2 million in unrestricted net assets. Those items you can see on page 9 of the audit report. The primary reason for the unrestricted net assets increase in unrestricted net assets was approximately 2.9 million in revenue over expenses. That can be found on page 10 of the financial statements. Additionally, the invested in net assets of the Housing Authority, which includes all the fixed assets less related debt, that increase was due to capital acquisitions, net of depreciation, plus the forgiveness of debt on that New Jersey loan that's being forgiven ratably over 5 years, and next year that should finish up. Operating revenues were $23 million. That was an increase from the prior year. Primary reason behind that was increase in tenant revenues, while HUD subsidies, they were stable. They increased by about $460,000. Operating expenses were $20 million. They were up slightly. Those increases were in administrative salaries, maintenance costs, and employee benefits. Overall, we generated an operating surplus of just under $3 million. It was $2,995,000, which was consistent with the prior year. Financial statements reflecting strong operational management. The cash position continues to be healthy. Unrestricted cash increased by approximately $1.3 million. That can be seen on the cash flow statement on page 11 of the financial statements. Capital assets and capital activity. We've continued to invest heavily in modernization. Capital additions totaled $4.4 million, which are primarily funded through the capital fund and the CDBG program. Long-term debt decreased, as I indicated before, due to the forgiveness of the New Jersey HMFA loan and the payments on the CFFP bonds, the capital fund bonds, and the RAD loan from Fox Hill. Our pension and OPEB liabilities, those liabilities increased from the prior year, and those are calculated on an actuarial basis. That continues to be the reason for our negative unrestricted net assets, which is reflected on page 10. There's nothing really we can do about that. The Housing Authority is on a pay-as-you-go, so we pay those liabilities each year. We get an invoice from the state of New Jersey, and we make those payments. That brings me to the two compliance reports: the single audit report and the yellow book, what we call the yellow book report. Those reports were modified. There were two findings regarding compliance.
Sorry, can you interrupt for a second?
Yeah, sure.
Just so everybody else knows, that's on page 41, correct?
Yes, it begins on page 41, and I believe it goes to 44, 45.
And the points you're talking about are really 46 and 48, which are the two findings.
The two findings, right, the two compliance findings. One was on the low-rent public housing program, and one was on the housing choice voucher program. The repeat findings, basically from the prior year, missing documents on recertifications of tenant files, continues to be an issue for the authority. We brought that to the director's attention. We brought it to the finance committee's attention. They have provided a corrective action plan, which is included on the last pages of the report on page 50. And assuming that those plans are implemented, that hopefully this finding will be remediated in this next audit cycle, in your 9/30/25 audit.
And just if I can, just add to that for the board and others, the issue was in the recertifications and documentation from tenants, which was significant enough to be included in the audit report as here is something we needed to work on. And that's the reason we went out and hired Van McKay to hopefully address those issues.
Then you should have followed your management.
Yes, that is correct. For the voucher program, we picked 40 tenant files from each program to review. And in that program file, the deficiencies included.
I'm going to ask the public to please remain quiet while Mr. Bakari is speaking.
The deficiencies included 2 files that did not include EIV documentation. EIV is the earned income verification, where it's the way we verify the tenant's income from basically a third-party source so that we calculate the rent right on the 505A forms. Not as significant as the EIV, but the 9886 form, which is the signature forms, the birth certificate, and the 214 forms, which is the citizen form, were not in those files. For the low-rent public housing files, again, 40 files were selected. 5 of those files were missing documentation from EIV, and 1 was missing an entire interim certification. So the issues with the recertifications have improved in previous years. There were more files that were deficient. Recertification in some cases had not been done. That has moved to where we are today. While there are improvements, we still can't clear the findings because the issues still persist. So if the authority, hire Nan McKay to review those files, hopefully during this cycle or at the end of 26 cycle, depending on when they were engaged, these findings should be cleared.
Do you have any questions? Is that all you have? Commissioner Forbes or Commissioner Vega, do you guys have any questions regarding this?
I want to let you know that the phone number on the screen is done as well.
I don't have any questions.
Okay, I'm sorry, Commissioner Rodriguez, do you have any questions? You're on mute.
Carmen is there as well.
Yes, I did. I'd like the record to show that Commissioner Vega logged in at 7:18 today, and Commissioner Rodriguez also just logged in. So we don't have any questions?
Our fee account is here also, if there's any questions for him. Bill, thank you for coming.
Yes.
Make any further comments, Bill, or are we good?
No, we're good. Thank you. Thanks for asking.
So I guess if we have no further questions, I think we have this question of the meeting. We thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming, my friend.
Now you can just resume the regular agenda.
Okay.
Happy and healthy, everybody.
Thank you.
So we are resuming now with our regular agenda, which now will be the public speaking.
No, is it the director's report?
No, it's not, because when he speaks, he answers the question.
Wait, but I thought we changed that. Did it? Oh, yeah, we did. We changed it? Let's get it
It's
before.
not. Yeah, sorry.
On the agenda.
I'm sorry. Director, you can do your report.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And then you suspend comments for the end.
I trust that you all had a fine holiday season. Welcome back for 2026, and I wish you all a 2026 full of health, love, and clarity. We are back from the holiday break. It was an interesting time, and I want to tell everyone if I or my staff missed anything, please reach back out to us. It's been a very busy month, so we'll be glad to resurface on anything you may have that we missed during the holidays. So we'll be glad to pay special attention to you if there's anything we missed. I do look forward to being in attendance at the our mayor-elect award swearing-in ceremony on January 15th, coming up a week from today. As Becky will expound on a bit later, our holiday celebrations were a source of great joy for many this season. Between Winter Wonderland, the meals at the elderly and disabled sites, and many, many other events through us and our partners, through Hopes, we gave away thousands of toys, many meals, and much goodwill was shared. So thank you all for participating in that. And Becky will have a little bit more of that in her report. Chairperson Reyes, Commissioner Edwards, and I attended the annual FADA Commissioners Conference this past week. Much was learned in the areas of the housing choice voucher budgets, upcoming HUD policies, really important, redevelopment financing opportunities, the federal budget. As you know, we are still working under a continuing resolution, and there's a deadline at the end of January for Congress to do something without a new government shutdown. So we don't know where we're going to be. The Senate proposal has, which is the better proposal, has an 11% cut in our operating budget. The congressional proposal is a little bit worse. We hear from our FADA partners that the Senate proposal may well go through in some modified form, but no matter what, it's going to be a tight year on the federal funding side. So, welcome, Commissioner Vega.
I was on upstairs, but I
You're welcome.
to come in person.
Yes.
Thank you, I apologize.
No problem, thank you. So that's something we're going to be having to keep our eyes on. And please, if anyone knows your congressmen, your senators, tell them how important public housing is. You know, we continue to receive these cuts, and we can't move on forever with these types of cuts that they're giving us. So, you know, we're dedicated, we'll be here, but it's a tough road ahead. It was a great and meaningful trip. I would like to plant the idea with the board of a spring board retreat, so we can talk a little bit about that, when the timing would be for that, maybe after our annual meeting. So we've got some things to look at very changing times on the HUD financing and so many other regulations that are coming down from HUD right now with this administration. On the Hoboken Housing Forward update, we need to celebrate. We've got a major milestone that's been reached. On December 17th, the Hoboken City Council unanimously supported our redevelopment efforts by awarding our new limited partnership with RPM, named Hoboken Forward 1 URA-LP, is that a mouthful? We're calling it by its initials, HHA, conditional designation as the developer on our Phase 1 project, which we all know, I hope will be a new building on the Harrison Gardens parking lot site. I did speak in advocacy of the resolution at that meeting, and we read in a statement from Chairperson Reyes and Vice Chair Seitzman into the record. The city resolution does open the door to the city and HFORA firming up city requirements, getting final approval on our plans, submitting HUD documents, advancing architectural and design for our first building. All of that can now take place. I want to say again to the residents that we've been doing a lot of work in the background, and as we start getting into what the design of the building is going to look like, what the ramifications are going to be, how relocation is going to work, we will be going back to our resident meetings. You're going to be seeing us do outreach. If you remember a couple years ago when we did the strategic plan, we had many meetings, and we'll be continuing that process now that we're back on track, and we've got some professionals working with us on some design principles and the things we're up to. So you're going to be seeing us this spring quite a bit as this thing develops. We continue to review the possibilities of obtaining that second and Harrison site. No great news on that. And I would ask our new Director of Development, Mr. Merchant, have I missed anything you'd like to mention to our crowd here today?
Well, that was a pretty good summary. What we're looking to do as we move forward.
I'm sorry, I can't hear him.
Do you want? Oh, you have it.
Terry, is that better?
It's hard, the audio's horrible.
Do you want to go over here and maybe speak from the table? He's going to come to the table, Terry, so you can hear him.
Thank you.
Is that better, sir? Let me see. Okay, is that better?
Fantastic.
So, 25 was a great year for the Housing Authority when it comes to redevelopment. Like the director said, we had major milestones. First was the Master Development Agreement with RPM. Then we did our legal governance and entities, which means we had to form projects that were going to support the redevelopment. We did, through the RAB and through some meetings, talk to the residents through the meet and greets about the redevelopment that's coming, and close out the year with that conditional designation from the city. So that was fantastic. We didn't expect it to happen. It happened last minute. So thank you so much to everyone at the city in Hoboken for all they're doing to help us push this forward, because we do have their support, and it's evident in how they're moving. So thank you for that. What's ahead and what we're looking to do now? So over the next 6 months, the Housing Authority, along with folks from the city and with our development partner, we're going to be working on the Master Redevelopment Agreement with the city. And that is basically the groundwork of how we're going to work as a team, the city and HHA, as the director explained. HHA is Hoboken Forward One Urban Renewal Associates Limited Partnership. What HHA does is the mechanism for phase 1 of the redevelopment. As we know, there's going to be many phases. As we go through this, the purpose is to try to have as least impact on the residents as we go through. We're very fortunate to have a build first situation. Not a lot of housing authorities have that. If they don't have somewhere to build first, folks have to move out of the project, then come back. That doesn't always work as well as folks would like it to, right? In the experience that we've had meeting other housing authorities that have gone through this, some folks had to leave the property for 5 to 10 years. Yes, they come back. And obviously that's what everybody would want, but we don't even want you to leave. So that's what we're really pushing for and what we have lined up for you right now. So that lot at Harrison Gardens is going to hold approximately 165 units. Those units will be coming from already from our residents. They'll be moving in. They won't have to go to another apartment in between. They'll move directly into the new unit. And obviously with a relocation specialist that we're going to have that's going to assist the families in going through that. So I'm not suggesting that even that's going to be easy. What I'm saying is that together we will work to make sure that everyone is comfortable with how we're moving about that. Moving in general is never easy, no matter what the circumstances. So we'll make sure that we work with you, and that any concerns that you have, we can try to address before they get worse. So 26 is going to be a year of getting planning and getting everything in place, so that hopefully in 27 we start to see that building going up. Yeah, so it's still a little bit. However, what I can say is this: what happened in 25 was the actual legal paperwork that will allow us to move forward. Before that, we didn't have anything in writing. Now we have actual contracts. We have an actual company. We have already made an escrow deposit with the city, which allows the city to start to do some of the things that they need to do. So what we will look forward is to your input as we move forward. And I hope that you can participate in these meetings as they get announced. We'll try to make some in the day, we'll try to make some in the evening, we'll try to do it through the RAB, we'll try to do it through this meeting here. Any way that we can reach you guys, and you guys know where we are, come see us if you have any questions. But that's basically it.
Thank you, Frank. And if you'll remember, we had this board had established a list of values during our redevelopment, and they still hold. Those list of values are still there. The concept that no one that is lease compliant will lose their unit. No, we're not going to be moving people off and moving them back. It will be simply leaving your unit and going into a brand new one. So not leaving the property. And we're committed to that. And we want you to hold us to that commitment, because it's going to happen. It's going to happen. So we look forward to pushing the process through in 26. So about a year from now, we can start talking about when we're going to do groundbreaking. So it's coming. It's coming. Can't wait. So moving on to project-based vouchers, we continue to work with the American Legion Group
finalizing the requirements to enter our contract on project-based vouchers. I have met with the director of the American Legion this month, and we're in touch with both the developer on this and the American Legion. So we're all on the same page. We are waiting for them to submit some more paperwork to us, but those vouchers are still there waiting for project basing. I did receive very recently a letter from HUD regarding HEV funding, Housing Choice Voucher funding, and during our training sessions, the Housing Choice Voucher budget was a major topic of discussion. Housing Choice Vouchers are going to be experiencing a tough year. The HUD Undersecretary sent all executive directors a letter talking about how we should not, at this point, be releasing new vouchers onto the street. You both fine, everyone's with us, fine, but they're saying don't release new vouchers, don't go under your normal program, any new project-based voucher programs, and hold things very close to budget for the coming year because they just don't know what's going to come out of Congress when they do this new budget for the next year. I've never seen a letter like this out of HUD, and it frankly angered me a bit, but it is what it is. You would expect that a letter from the Undersecretary of HUD would be talking about how he could help us rather than how we should be not issuing vouchers to help people find homes. But that's where we are with the current political situation in Washington. So we'll keep you apprised as that moves along. Our next Resident Advisory Board meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, January 13th. We are going to be planning a new election for resident council members at Harrison Gardens, since they currently have a vacant position there. We'll be working through that with the Resident Advisory Board, as well as working, I think, closely on a new set of bylaws for that group. On meetings, I continue to meet with residents on a personal basis through our intake appointment system. I encourage any resident with an ongoing issue to reach out to their manager, Ms. Villafane, or myself. Feel free, if you've got a problem that's in your building and you don't think the manager is handling it correctly, I continue to say, come in and see me. Let's work it out. Let's see what we can do about helping, and we've got great contacts, and I think we can help on those issues. Fox Hill Management Report, to report on our housing for Hoboken and our contract to manage Fox Hill. That group met on December 16th. We do have a resolution in front of you tonight to approve a contract for the replacement of storm doors and exterior concrete balcony repair work at Fox Hill. So we'll be seeing that later. The elevator camera projects, and that is a project being funded through the city. Thank you, city, CDBG. That will put cameras in the elevators at all 3 of our elderly disabled buildings. So we will have cameras in the elevators soon. We are just waiting on the final contract agreement from the city. We're ready to go, and as soon as they clear their paperwork, and they've given us a commitment letter that we're getting the money. We've worked with the contractor, gotten the price, we know where we're going. We just need that, when they're ready and open to giving us that final agreement, we'll be acting quickly. So I would look forward to those cameras. It's going to help us a lot in our elderly disabled buildings. And some complaints we've gotten there about conduct in the elevators, which we're upset about. We are working and developing a plan for the next round of capital improvements. Tonight, and we have in front of you the storm doors, in front of the board, the storm doors and concrete repairs. We've got another tranche of funding that we're ready to go to town on. So at our Fox Hill meetings coming up, my next meet and greet meeting, we'll be talking very specifically about what we intend together to do with those dollars, and how we can further improve Fox Hill. We've definitely got some work to do here, and we're going to have some money to address the next round of needs. So it's coming. So I'm excited about that. And again, you as residents and the board will have input into what we're doing as we approach this project and bid it and move on from there. On management, we are working with HPD on standard procedures for the issuance and tracking of individuals that have been notified that they are banned from the property. I will say, through our recent conversations, we've had 3 arrests that were made this month in connection with defiant trespass. Thank you, HPD. You guys are doing a great job coordinating with us, and we had one right here that we're really, really happy about, 221. So it's working. A fire at Harrison Gardens has required the relocation of 2 families. We had a fire at the end of last week, which caused significant damage. I am really, really happy to say that there were no injuries. The fire department and the city OEM coordinated with us immediately, and I think our staff did a great job responding to the emergency. And we've given new units to the 2 families that had to be relocated out of that. It was the unit with the fire and the unit above it. Both got significant water damage. Because as you know, the fire department just comes in blasting. Thank you for coming in blasting. So we appreciate that. But at the same time, we then have to live with the consequences and get those units back in shape. Management has been consumed with the Nan McKay initiative, as Mr. Maurice mentioned to you earlier, and Commissioner Edwards emphasized. We know that it's a new system for many folks out there. And Nan McKay, who's doing our actual recertification, asking residents for documents and putting that together, you may see some things that are different. They have a responsibility to determine what your yearly income is. And they are very, I love this word, persnickety about it. And they're down to the detail. And I've seen some criticism on social media, et cetera, that they're being too thorough. Understand, they need that documentation in order for us to comply with federal law to make sure that we've captured all the income that a resident may have had over the year, and base your rent based on that income. So part of what you're seeing with the new documentation is the new push with Nan McKay, and as you've heard from the auditor tonight, we have needed to get better there, and the reason we brought them on was to get better there. So that is in process in response to those audit findings. I do want to report that in public housing, we continue with a very good 97% occupancy rate, which is well above the state average, and excellent performance. We had 5 new lease-ups this past month, no transfers and 3 move-outs. At Fox Hill, we had a 96% occupancy rate, still excellent. We had 5 new lease-ups, no transfers, and 3 move-outs. I do have some attachments on the management report that are slightly modified, and I think that Ms. Villafane so I do think Ms. Villafane is ill today. She's got no voice. Frank has offered to step in for her and review that report, which would be your attachment to in my report.
Well, I guess the biggest thing to talk about is the new report. It's separated into three areas, which makes it a little bit easier on the eye. This still may not be the final report. We will continue to make it better, and we'll continue to make it better. If this works, good. If it needs more, we'll keep adding more to it. The first one is pretty straightforward, the occupancy. I guess something that's notable to talk about here is what's the court activity at the time. Matt Fitzpatrick and Jasenia have been working very hard for the last couple of weeks with the families, trying to get families to come in and sit down and talk about creating a repayment in-house to try to save a little bit of time when we do go to court. And I really appreciate that, Matt. I know that you guys have been sitting there throughout the whole day, and I see people coming in. Hopefully, having been in court with you, I know that it's a very uncomfortable environment to begin with for both parties, and to be able to do it in a way that's respectful and, you know, we can get the same result internally without having to go through the stress. Unfortunately, you still have to go to court even if you do a repayment agreement in-house with us, but when you get there that day, you know what you're walking into, you've already understood what the situation is. With that being said, the numbers speak for themselves. There is 71 currently in the process of court, 39 which already have, which are pending court dates, 32 already have court dates that are coming up now in the next few weeks for the next month or so. So as we go to court, most importantly, please show up to court. When you're there, we can still talk, we can still figure something out. If you don't show up, it's an automatic judgment for us. So we don't want that. We want to be able to work with you. So what you see here is that we do have 6 warrants pending. That's when we're actually going to get apartments back. So we're going to get 6 of those apartments back shortly. The next wave will be out of those 32, depending on what happens with those. So as we move over the next few months, 2 to 3 months, we are working very hard towards eliminating 90 plus days folks who are outstanding for more than 90 days plus. That's obviously, we would like to get to the point that there is no outstanding. I do want to give a little comfort, even though the numbers are very large for total families that owe money. Some of the families that owe money owe small amounts. It's not like just because they're on there. The most egregious numbers that people owe are in those big ones that we're going to be going to court first. So hopefully, over the next 3 to 4 months, as we work through that, it should be a huge impact. Now, obviously, January, historically, our numbers are higher than ever because, unfortunately, we don't tend to do that. You know, our December money goes for holidays, right? But we want to be at the point where we can, 5% is really the goal. 5% of tenant accounts receivable, nationally or in any private sector. It's unsustainable, guys. We can't continue if we don't collect rent. Unfortunately, everything that you guys need, the services that you need, we can only provide through the rent that we collect. We only get it so much, and as you're hearing, HUD is looking to cut and cut and cut and cut. So we're letting you know that while we can work with everyone, the most important thing is that we pay our rent before anything else. So, Matt, I don't know if you have anything else that you'd like to talk about the court or how the court is going?
Yeah, thanks, Frank. I'll add a little bit to that. And Terry, it's Matt Fitzpatrick. So I think I said last month that when we came to you this month, even though the report itself looks a little bit different, the numbers might not look all that different yet. We do have a couple of court dates next week, both Wednesday and Thursday, and then we have another one at the end of the month. So I do expect that when we come back to you in February, the numbers here will look a lot different because we will have, hopefully, a number of court-approved repayment agreements. We will have some instances where people we know have either left but didn't properly turn over the unit or maybe have passed away and we have to go to court to get possession back. So there will be a number of units, especially in the 2 days next week, that we anticipate will be back in the authority's stock and maybe with some maintenance work, hopefully in the relatively near future, ready to rent out for transfers or new admissions in the month, maybe a couple months ahead. And the other thing I will mention is we have met with, I think it's 25 families over the course of the past month at the authority to discuss repayment agreements. The Housing Authority has been able to agree to the framework of a deal with everybody who has come in to meet. That is the goal here, to try and enter into these repayment agreements get residents back on solid footing. It is not to evict a resident. That is a reality of a last resort if these court repayment agreements don't work. As Frank mentioned, there are 6 of those where warrants are pending with the court. So it is a reality, but that is not at all the goal here. The goal here is to try and get everybody back on track, have the authority collect its money so that it can then reinvest that into services for all the residents, whether it's maintenance, other things. The other thing I'll mention is that you may see that the number of cases in the system is the same. There has been a little bit of a delay at the court, I think because of the holidays, vacations, things like that. In terms of court dates being assigned, I do expect that as early as tomorrow, at least 40 more cases will be assigned court dates. And then in the very near future, that'll go up by another 80, I believe. Hopefully, we are a little bit behind in this week's filing because of the holidays, I will admit that. But I expect that we'll be back on track with that next week, and by the time the next scheduled filing week, the week of the 19th comes around, we'll be right back on track.
And you know, a point that you made about the empty apartments, when someone has passed away and they have no family that we can contact, we can't, until we go to court and get possession of the apartment, we can't get the apartment back. So sometimes just getting the apartment back to be able to start collecting rent makes the world of a difference, even if we can't go back. So just even being able to increase our monthly income through renting out again is going to be a significant improvement. So thank you. I don't know if anybody has any questions on this.
I would like to make a small, just summary addition for the board and particularly for the residents that are with us, is that we are trying everything for you to keep your apartment if you're behind in your rent. We're really trying. If you look at our history over the past few years, you know, we've entered into informal agreements with residents. When they've broken those informal agreements, we've often brought them back in and entered another informal agreement, and there's a time then when we take the next step of doing an agreement that's sanctioned by the court. So once you're in the agreement with the court, you may be in agreement with us, but you're also in an agreement with the judge. And if you break that one, that's kind of, you know, one of the last steps. But even then, we're still willing to talk. We don't want anyone to lose their apartment, and we've been kind of, and I've been criticized a bit, we've been going really around our elbow to reach our thumb to have folks stay. We don't want folks to leave because they can't afford rent. But there does come a time when folks break agreements that we've got to move from there. But I want to assure anyone that if there comes a time when you're worried about this issue, come and see us. We're willing to sit at the table and talk and try our best to work out an agreement with you. And 99.99% of the time, we're able to have some agreement with you. And that's what we want. We're in the housing business, and we want you to have a safe and secure roof over your heads, and we'll continue to work toward that. So we've gone as far as we've mentioned. We've brought Matt in for a full day session to be in our office, so you can just come to the office, sit down and talk it through with us. So come in and take advantage of that. We'll be glad to sit down and talk and try to work through that. So thank you, Frank.
The only last thing I thought about was, you know, the city of Hoboken would like to help in any way they can. And from time to time, they reach to us and say, would you give me a list of the folks that need help? We, by law, can't give that list. But what I'm asking you guys is if you need help, go to the city, because they do have some funds, and some other people that were almost locked out got help. I'm saying that from my side, from my experience, someone that was about to get locked out was rescued by money that came up that wouldn't have happened if it didn't go to the city. So I'm just saying, if anyone's at the last step and you have nowhere to go, please try the city. I'm not saying that they'll help you, but it's worth the try. So I just wanted to say that.
And if I could, Frank, just add to that quickly. Again, Terry, it's Matt. It is always easier to try and work something out if you come earlier rather than later, or if a resident comes earlier rather than later. I know that sounds relatively easy to say, but it will be much more likely that the authority will be able to work with the tenant or point them in the right direction if they come prior to the court date or on the court date. What happens is if somebody misses a court date, the housing authority would get what's called a default judgment, would request a warrant, and at that point, essentially, the housing authority would be free to lock the unit unless the full amount is paid. Not that that's necessarily what would happen in every case, but that would be the legal right. It also is the case that if somebody does try to start the process for assistance, at that point, the court looks much less favorably upon it. If somebody tries to start the process of assistance before they get to court, before the day of court, the court will look much more favorably upon that. Will be much more willing to be flexible with a resident if there's already some sort of request for assistance or even commitment of assistance in play. So please reach out as early as you can. I know Jimena and Yesenia have been doing a very good job of reaching out to people who don't even have court dates assigned yet, but are in the pipeline. And we've had a handful of those families come in as well, and we have the framework of an agreement before the complaint has even been filed. So I can't emphasize enough, please come in, it's private, you don't have to deal with any embarrassment or anything like that. The housing authority is very willing to work with residents, but it's always easier to do it if we have time rather than doing it in a situation where there's already a default judgment and the housing authority is having to decide between showing leniency but also preserving its rights to move forward with the case. So, thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Moving on to the maintenance report, the protective staffing along Jackson Street remains in place. We have done a thorough investigation with the engineering firm, and finally a good scope of work has been developed on how to address that issue. With a complicated process. We've got 2 proposals incoming on that work, so we'll keep you apprised as those proposals come in, and if they are acceptable and we're convinced that it's a go, I will authorize them to proceed under that emergency declaration. But if those 2 proposals aren't good, then we may have to bid, but we hope not. Because we want this done. Now the engineering firm that went up is very experienced in this, and they assure us that there's very little, if any, danger of any more falling right now. We've got the scaffolding up, we've got the netting up to protect folks, but we don't expect that there'll be anything else that might fall down from there for the moment. I did attach an elevator report. Unfortunately, 310 is still out. We are as frustrated as you are with the elevator there. We don't expect that to be up and running until the end of January. That's the report from our elevator company. They are having special parts manufactured for that elevator. It's a sign of our old aging housing stock with 1 elevator in a 10-story building that's that old. Their parts are out of stock, etc. So another reason for us to redevelop. So we're sorry for the inconvenience. We know folks are having to go up and walk across the walkway up on top and get to their units, and different challenges you've had. Feel free, if you've got a particular challenge, to reach out to the staff and the manager. We'll do everything we can to help you out. As a result of the fire last week, 321 went out. So we've got issues there right now. We're getting the proposal any day, we hope tomorrow, from the elevator company on what it's going to take to get that back up and running. So I don't have an estimate for you today on the timeline on 321 yet. Now the problem was a little lower than the 310, so we're hoping there wasn't as much damage, but I just can't honestly tell you exactly where we are on that. It happened last Friday, and we don't have the evaluation yet. The inspections from the city are taking place as we speak. You know, the city comes in and does inspections on all of our elevators yearly, and they're going through those inspections now. So we should have the results soon on those. But our initial responses is overall our elevators are in good shape. And if we quit pouring water all over them, we'd probably be just fine. But again, like I say, thank you, fire department, for pouring that water, but it does cause damage. And there was an awful lot of water in that last one. Our boiler crew has been hopefully keeping everybody warm. I think Louis is in the room, or he was in the room. Thank you, Louis, and his supervisor, Greg. They've been out there working hard. Greg did give me his report on the challenges they've faced, from piping leaks to clogged pipes to primary equipment breaking down, and they've been working hard on it. I do know in this past month we've had a few water heaters go out, and we're actively replacing those water heaters and trying to keep you set not only with heat but with good hot water. We do ask folks to remember, if there is a problem with your hot water, don't just turn on the faucet and let it run and run and run and run and run. Turn on the faucet. If you don't get hot water within a few minutes, turn it back off and come back again and try, and make sure you contact us, and we'll respond as soon as we can. The city, with our collaboration, has begun the process of constructing a press box behind home plate at Mama Johnson Field. Construction hasn't started, but we have met with them and the architects. This is being funded by the city. I believe it's a real welcome improvement to our field. We're going to have kind of that press box where the refs and folks are going to be able to get up in the press box, look down at the field. So that's coming. Our trash project has moved forward like a bunch of snails, but it's moving forward. It's going to take about 4 months to manufacture the actual trash bins. So we've talked about the new trash bin process that's coming to the main campus. So we're probably talking April anyway, maybe May by the time those are installed. So the work order's been done, the equipment's been put on order, they are being manufactured, and they'll be with us, but that's still in place and happening. On finance, our consolidated operating budget through September is attached. I think that's through October. Yeah, sorry about that. And it's through October, so it's a very small one. It only reflects 1 month, correct? So sorry about not catching that thing in my report. But yeah, so it's not much you have to really get a hold on for the year. In addition, finance is working on the housing choice voucher budgets, which I mentioned earlier. It's going to be a real task this year on making sure we balance that budget, making sure we don't spend more money than we are actually getting from HUD. It's a challenge. And we have been working on, with finance and management, by the way, the charges for maintenance. I have gotten some comments, and I think there's been some social media comments about folks being charged for items that we repair in the units. And I want to reiterate that if you are billed for something from our maintenance department that you think is wear and tear and that you shouldn't be charged for, contact your manager. If your manager doesn't give you an adequate response, come and see me. And we will sit with you and work through that and make sure that that you're satisfied. We never want to treat you unfairly. We will always take a look at it with you. But at the same time, if you damage the apartment, there will be charges for that as time goes by.
Can I add something to that, Director?
You may.
And that has been part of the tenants accounts receivable discussion as well. There have been a couple instances where residents questioned maintenance charges, and in some of them, the Housing Authority revisited it, decided it was regular wear and tear, and removed those charges. In some instances, the discussion was had, and the Housing Authority maintained the position that it wasn't regular wear and tear and was caused by something that was done by the resident, and the charges remain. But the discussions have been had, they've been cordial, and it's been, at least as far as I could tell, very helpful to have that discussion now, rather than letting it linger and just to get everything settled. That way, there is a clean slate, and when you show up in court, there aren't those disagreements which may delay things.
Somebody has accused in the past the executive director of being kind of on the side of the residents in those disputes, and I have to admit it's true. I will always err towards the side of making sure we don't charge you for something we shouldn't be charging you for. So come on and talk to us. There's always a way to resolve things. On resident services, I think Becky is going to bring us up to date with the video attachment that she's created. Becky, are you there?
Hoboken Housing Board Meeting, Resident Services Report, Thursday, January 8th, 2026. Elderly Disabled Housing Units, Activities and Events. In Monroe Gardens, we have bingo on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Pastoral care on Fridays at 7 p.m. Food pantry every other Friday at 8 a.m. Dr. Purisima, podiatrist, once a month. And St. Peter Christian Church, Sundays at 9 a.m. In Adams Gardens, we have bingo on Mondays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. Dr. Purisima, podiatrist, every other month. Tune in together Fridays at 2 p.m. and movie night monthly at 7 p.m. In Foxhill Gardens, we have bingo on Wednesdays at 7 p.m., pastoral care on Saturdays at 6:30 p.m., Dr. Purisima, podiatrist, every other month, movie night Fridays at 7 p.m., and band-resistant exercise classes on Fridays at 10 a.m. Family housing units, activities, and events. For adults, we have bingo in the Annie Forbes Community Room on Fridays at 6 p.m. and in Christopher Columbus Gardens Community Room on Fridays at 7 p.m. For kids, we have 10 Reasons at the 311 Community Room on Mondays and Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Homework help at the Annie Forbes Community Room Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays at 3:30 p.m. Karate program at the Annie Forbes Community Room on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 4 p.m. and guitar lessons at the Annie Forbes Community Room Wednesdays at 4 p.m. Resources. Subscribe to Nixle and stay ahead. You can register today by scanning the QR code with your phone camera. Receive updates on maintenance issues, event announcements, and important advisories. Past events. Elderly Disabled Housing Units, Holiday Luncheons. 2026 Winter Wonderland. Every ending leads to a new beginning. Welcome 2026 with gratitude for the past and hope for the future.
Becky, thank you for that very much. Again, I think it was a great holiday season. I have one other announcement. Reverend Commissioner Forbes is spearheading a new program at the Annie Forbes Community Room over at 411 on January 19th. He's going to start a program through the Street Life Ministries of having a breakfast program for our kids that they're going to be able to go over in the morning starting at 6:30 and there'll be breakfast. There'll be folks there to guide our youth toward, do you have homework left over? This is somewhere you can go for homework help. Do you have other issues that you might want to talk to an adult or somebody about? So they'll be able to go over every morning and get help, have a good breakfast. And we really thank Streetlight Ministries, Reverend Forbes, for taking this initiative and starting this at our 411 Marshall Drive Community Center. It's going to be, I think, every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday to start the week out right, and for students in 5th grade through the 8th grade. So tell your kids, tell your grandkids, stop on by, and of course, like anything, we'll be continuing to advertise it. We'll get the flyers out to everybody. We're just finishing those up. So, Reverend Forbes, thank you so much for pushing this along and making this happen. And
It's all mine, Director.
thank you. Thank you. Making progress, and that, I believe, concludes my report.
Thank you, Director Rocco. Now we're moving on to public portion. I'd just like to remind everyone has 5 minutes. I ask everyone to please be respectful when you come up to the microphone. And also remember that we do not go back and forth. So we will listen to your complaints, and the director will get back to you at a later time with any of your questions or concerns. First of all, I'd like to call Jorge Muriel.
Hi, Happy New Year to all. Mr. Record, this is for you.
Mr. Muriel, before you start, can you say your name and spell it for the court reporter, please, and your title?
Yeah, my name is Jorge Muriel, that's Georgian English, that's Jorgemuriel. Okay? So I gave Mr. Record, if somebody wants to read this paper, it's a petition because we have some individuals here that are going behind women and groping them, even in the elevator, in the hallways, and this is not acceptable. If somebody's going to read it right now.
If you'd like to read it, you can read it. It's your time.
You want to read it?
No, they need to read it.
Okay,
Get
so
somebody to read it.
anyway, they want to use to read it, but I'm giving this petition. There's 90 names written on this list. Because I talked to Mr. Reck already about this. He told me there's nothing he can do because the judge won't see it. That's why I'm asking your commissioners. You are here to defend the building and the seniors, because there's a lot of seniors in this building. We're tired of people telling us no. We can't do this, we can't do that. This is a serious matter. And they want to know if you could talk to a judge. There's 90 names that will make a difference. It's not 2 or 10 people, there's 90 names that wants to see if this could get fixed. Because these people are going to continue doing it, and we want to stop. Okay? This ain't no joke, this is all serious, there's a lot of seniors here, and I don't understand why they keep putting these people in the building. You know, if they continue to do this, they did it more than once. There's police reports, there's records in the office that they gave Lydia, complaints. So we want this taken care of as fast as you can, because somebody's going to get hurt. There's people carrying mace, people carrying knives, and they're going to go to jail because of 2 idiots. This has got to stop. And now, I haven't finished. We had a nice scene that people take pictures, right? And Sammy comes and says, that's a fire hazard, that's health hazard. This was the picture. This is what it looked like when we put it up. This is what it looked like after Sammy took off the bench. Okay? That's not a fire hazard. Scooters could pass through there. Okay? Now, you want to see what's so fire hazard? This. This is a fire hazard. You could have those papers. I got more.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, not get it. Pass it around. If he claims that this is a fire hazard, we had 3 fires in the building in contractor rooms. That's what they look for, 4 days since Christmas until Monday. Okay? You couldn't not get in through either door. People were knocking on my door on Christmas Day. I texted Lydia, I sent them pictures, nobody got back to me. This is not called for. There's a lot of garbage that was there. They left it for 4 days since Wednesday, Christmas Eve, until Monday. That's a fire hazard. And the 3rd day, they started cleaning. Okay? Christmas Day, they put a garbage can in front of the door, outside, instead of cleaning the place. And if they needed help, why didn't they call me? I would go and help them, whoever supervisor was in charge back then. No, they just left the mess. You want to see what's dangerous? This bench outside that they removed, and Sammy says that's not dangerous. Pipes on the ground sticking up. Somebody could fall. That's what the holes look like with the pipes. That's in front of the building. That's a health hazard. Not this. Was that a health hazard?
No.
No, at all.
And that's what they left us with for Christmas. Which they didn't even do the borders. Yeah, and we like the paint, by the way.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
That's it, 5 minutes?
Yes, ma'am. You have more?
Yes, I had a lot more.
I'm sorry.
This one's 5 minutes.
And I went fast.
They were out.
Well, I thought
Happy though.
Yeah, because there was some more stuff that I wanted to get out, but that's okay. I'll talk it in the meeting Tuesday.
Ramona Diaz?
Ramona here. Leaving?
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Ramona Diaz. This is not the first time I have reported the situation. Previously, I went to the management at the office, but no action was taken. I am formally reporting harassment and interference by a tenant, also a housing authority commissioner, during my attempt to collect my personal belongings. On November 20 and November 22, 2025, while I was participating in an authorized activity here at Fox Hill, this community room, this person, Carmen Vega, deliberately interfered with me, creating distress and unnecessary obstacles, preventing me from collecting my personal belongings and completing the process peacefully. This behavior was not accidental. It was targeted and disruptive. I respectfully request that this matter be reviewed promptly and addressed appropriately to prevent this conduct from continuing happening. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. Giovanna Pigaro?
Hi, good evening. My name is Giovanna Pigaro. I live here with my daughter. And Jovanka, and my last name is Pigaro. P-E-G-U-E-R-O. I live in Fox Hill with my daughter, and this gentleman is harassing all the women in here. We scared to come down. We scared to go on the elevator because he wearing his pants down and going on the floor knocking with it, trying to open the door with the key. And this had to stop because we cannot even do nothing down here because he always down here. And he always drunk and everything. And my daughter's scared. I don't want to come down. No one want to come down because of him. And he's still here. And today he was worse. His pants was broke and he was out of control. We need to do something about him. Thank you, Mr. Reco.
Can you give me your phone number before you go?
Okay,
Thank you, Ms. Figueroa.
you're welcome.
Latika and Nicole, they left?
Yeah. Naida Gonzalez?
Did I say it right? I apologize if I said it incorrectly.
I'm a man.
I'm so sorry. Can you tell me how you said it?
It's Herineldo Gonzalez.
Hernando. I'm sorry, your old look like an A. I apologize.
I'm only messing with you. All right,
Spell your name, please, for me.
Frank, and Mr. Greco.
Can you please?
I gotta spell my name too?
Yeah, for the court reporter.
It's Gerineldo Gonzalez. Do I have to spell Gonzalez or you got it?
I'm good.
Okay, now, Frank, the rent, everything's good, right? And Mr. Greco, everything's good?
I'm not sure what you're asking.
The rent is paid every month, correct? Okay, so it's paid every month. I've been asking you to help me out. I should be number 1 or number 3 on the list. I was 14 4 years ago. Now when I went to your office, I'm 21 to get into a 1-bedroom. Every time that I mess or I do the right things and deal with somebody from the office, it takes 7 years and it took 21 years just to get to this spot. Why does it take so long? Why do I have to go through this? Why do I have to take somebody to court just to prove my rights? Nothing else? There's nothing to say? Because I really, my unit was full of roaches. It was full of mice. And when I asked for help, I got help half a year later. And I didn't want to do this here, but I have no choice. I'm here 4 or 5 years, and I'm sick and tired of that unit. Every time somebody throws out the garbage, I hear it. I hear it and I hear it. That's 7 days a week, 5 years in this place. And and the smell comes in through my unit when it gets heavy in the compactor. Like it's not excuses that I'm giving you, it's all the things that I'm telling you that I need to move out of that unit. The first thing was the infestation. That you should have helped me with that because I'm asthmatic. And I got chronic asthma, not just regular asthma. And it sucks that when I try to do everything nicely, I can't do it because there's no help. Every time that I go to the office, everything is no. I ask for paint so I can paint my walls. They say they can't give no paint out except the color that's already on it, on the unit. Half of this building is blue. The office was painted baby blue, which that's more expensive than white paint. Every time that I'm asking for something that I'm entitled to, it's a no. That's why I told you you're not in my shoes. And it sucks that I gotta sleep every day. There's cold coming from the window, there's no storm door, and there's a box in the fuse box. The cold's coming also from there and from the heater. I gotta put both heaters on, and it's still cold in my unit. So how can we resolve this? Because On the list, it says 21 when I went to your office, but over here 4 years ago,
I'm sorry, can we please use the phone?
I was 13 going down.
Sorry.
Is my mother. She wants to know what happened. Because I went to the office and I was so upset. I threw my flat screen inside the garbage. I was so upset when I came out of your office. Because when I told you my 90-pound dog that I had in the unit, it was so tight in there and we both didn't have no room. But when I told you she passed away, you had a grin on your face. And that got me upset. Because when I first got her, he was playing with her in front of 400. And that really got me upset. And then every time I ask Frank for help, he can't help me. I have to go to Natalie. And when I go to Natalie, she can't help me either. So my question is, if you guys can't help me or the board can't help me, what is it that why we have to deal with you guys? You gotta say something because I'm the one that's pissed. And it's your site manager here, the first one when I told you I didn't want to go over there. And you said you have my back. That was bull. When you called me in the hospital and asked me how I'm doing, I said my right side, I couldn't move it. Your answer was, you'll be okay. And you hanged up. This is why I'm mad. Like, I'm mad you should have left me in 400. Or you should have put me in 501.
Thank you, Mr.
Like, this is why I'm angry. I don't respect you or anymore from that day, from when you called me in the hospital.
Mr. Gonzalez, thank you so much. Your 5 minutes are up.
Thank you.
You notice, just to remind you, there's no crosstalk during these.
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, I'd like to remind you again that we do not go back and forth.
Yeah, but it's not the back and forth. It's what happened to me in life.
I understand. Luisa Irizarry?
Can I have the spelling of your first and last name?
Sure, she just got to the mic, Terry.
Okay, my name is Luisa Irizarry, Luisaririzarry. I'm here because an incident that happened last year on my same floor that I'm living in the 8th floor, a worse one happened. And I told you about it. You said you want to help me, that you're going to change my apartment and all that. I was paranoid, I had to see a psychiatrist, I had to take medication. And when I called the cops, they came and the 3 thugs had left through the stairs. So three policemen this size come to my house. Oh, did you call me? Yes, I called and I, where were you? How come you didn't split? One took one stairway, the other took one stairway, and the other one took one stairway. For me, you look like the 3 little pigs. Because you're all like this, and you came for nothing, because there's a blind man that lives in the 8th floor. And being that he's blind, he needs help and all that. So that day, he had moved in like 3 or 4 weeks. So he moved in and with his mother, and then he used to live in the project. So the mother didn't bring him back. One of his friends from downtown used to walk him back with a stick like that. So one time, they knocked my door was 12 o'clock. I didn't answer, and I heard 3 men, young teenage guys, talking to each other. And one of them would tell the other one, hurry up and do what you came to do, hurry up, who's watching. So the guy started hitting my door more. And I was scared, so I called the cops again, screaming, help me, they're gonna kill me, there's 3 guys in the hallway. Yeah, calm down, lady, what's your name? And they came, but the thugs to this day, who knows where they are. I know they were, because he was rushing the other one. Hurry up and do what you came to do, but he was rushing the other one. There was one leader telling each what to do. And started kicking my door, I've been divorced for 21 years. I live alone. I used to live in the studio when I first moved here at 8 a.m. That happened that unit. I asked you, change me from there. My nurse, I even got the letter from the doctor. The letter, I got the letter from the doctor right here.
Can you talk into the microphone so the court reporter can put it on the record, please?
I had to go to the doctor to this day. I'm not even the same, and I'm gonna read this to you. This happened 3/24/2025. My doctor wrote, Dr. Pascal Morali, to whom I may concern. Ms. Lisa Rizalli is a patient at the Community Mental Health at Hoboken University Medical Center. Ms. Rizalli has a history of depression, panic attacks, and breast cancer. The patient had a distressing incident in her apartment. She is experiencing severe anxiety and hypervigilance. Please consider transfer to another apartment in the building. Thank you for your cooperation. Best regards. The doctor's name is Pascal Morali. This is a year ago. I'm still living I'm living in a one-bedroom unit now. And now there's too many people here in the building. In the wing that I'm in, there's only men. There's only one senior citizen, and she's been in vacation for 4 months already. So this January the 1st, I was waiting to go to church for the bus to pick me up. Okay. And a man started, when I came from church, I went to eat something in the kitchen. All of a sudden, I hear, bang, 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 bang. And I said, who is it? Bang, 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 bang. Who is it? Bang, bang, bang. And I said, listen, I don't open the door to strangers. You're going to be there forever knocking because I ain't going to let you in. I didn't know you. And it's broad daylight. It's like about 5 in the afternoon. It's very, very weird to you. Around 5 a.m., a stranger started banging on my door, very hard. I asked who it was. He refused to answer. So he started banging harder. He would not speak. So I told him I do not open doors to strangers. That got him mad. So he punched the door 3 more times. At this time, I started trembling. I could not dial 911 because I thought I was going into cardiac arrest. I couldn't go to sleep for fear he might come back. I told my daughter and son, and they told me they were going to get me a camera for the door. This criminal was determined to rape me or kill me. He didn't care if it was daylight or what was. And in this building, there's a lot of men that sell Viagra, and they stand in front of the building for $5.
Thank you, Mr. Rosari.
Okay, let's finish here. Okay, yes, it's a million, okay.
I'm sorry, Mr. Rosario, your 5 minutes are up.
Okay, well, my 5 minutes might be up, but my attorney, you can't tell that to my attorney, so. I want to fix things with him because he's the boss. And we could fix this together, you know, me and you could fix it together. I like you, but I can't let criminals intimidate me, or he wanted to rape me. I had a dress on that day because I had gone to church, and he didn't care. You know who saved my life? This and an alarm for $1 that I bought in the dollar store. That chased him away.
So make an appointment with him.
How many times I make an appointment when the other girls were here and they told me, oh, next month.
After the meeting.
Okay, we're not going back and forth. Thank you again, and I'm sure the director will follow up.
Whatever, you hear from my lawyer, he doesn't.
Moving over to resolution now.
I have.
No, we don't ask questions now, so yeah.
Okay, so I have things to talk about as a tenant.
You want to speak as a resident? Okay, so.
Okay.
I will give you 5 minutes now,
Sure.
and then anything else.
No, I'll have you up. Carmen Vega, I'm speaking as a tenant. I live at apartment 60 in Hoboken. Apartment 16.
This was Is this off?
Thank you,
This is
Mr.
off.
Rosario.
Oh, I'll go up there. I'll go up there. I'll go up there. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Angel. I want to discuss with Mr. Recco, I want to ask you a few questions. As a commissioner, I started back in June. I know that some of the tenants are looking forward to getting transfers from a studio to a one-bedroom, and I know that there's been like 0 transfers. I know there should be an answer to that. Perhaps you could explain to them why the 0 transfers are not taking place yet. I don't know what's the holdup. As far as the cameras in the elevators, I just read here before I came down that you were saying that City Hall has to approve for the cameras here. I'm gonna be serious, honest when it comes to this. The women are afraid, including myself. The women are afraid to get in the elevator by themselves because of the one particular person in this building that he resigns. I know that when a case goes to court, people are not aware of the process that it takes. It does take quite a while. So we're just trying to see how soon running can we get these cameras in these elevators. If it's something that we have to make a meeting with the new mayor, that Emily, then that's something that we may consider in doing, because I think it's urgent that the women feel safe here. Okay. Also, as far as Luisa was talking just now, I think one of the things that I asked that there should be emergency door rings, like Luisa would need one urgent in case somebody comes to her door, at least she could see who's there. I mean, a ringer. I know you give them out for emergency, and they could always give it back to your pay up, whatever. I mean, we'll help out as much as we can with that for the tenant, because I think that women that live here by themselves, it's not just fine anyway, but you should have a camera at your doors at all costs. Another thing is that I know that George I had this discussion with him, George, the president. We have situations here as far, not with the new security lady that works here, she's excellent. The only thing is that we wanted to take a little bit further, that if we have people signing these books, is it possible for the tenant that they're visiting, if they're not disabled in a bed or whatever, if they could come downstairs and get their tenants going upstairs? Because, I mean, this happens 9 o'clock on, so we want to make sure that the floors are safe, being that we don't have cameras on the floors. I know you also, that was about security. And about the elevators, I just touched Fox Hill, the 0 transfer situation. The deceased, I'll talk with Frank on the side with that. And also, I just wanted the women to hear out. I know that a lot of the women are buying those sprays, pepper sticks, whatever. You know, as an attorney, you have the right to answer that if you like. But I know that when I worked in the county, you couldn't carry those. You had to carry the bottle with pepper spray in it itself, pepper, or a spray bottle. But the other one, the mace, you could have been charged for that. So I think those are things that, even though they're defending themselves, it's something that they have to be cautious about. The garbage on my floor, I don't know if it's happening on the floors, but at my floor, some tenant is having the bad habit of leaving their garbage. They're not putting it through the chute, they're leaving it right there for other people to do it. Now, I've done it several times, but I don't think it's fair at all. So I asked, last time, for you to mention to Lydia to send out notices that if they're doing that, to stop it, because we have to avoid getting mice again. I mean, I haven't seen any on the 6th floor, but we're trying to prevent all that. And also, you know, it's hard when you have a tenant coming in, and some tenants, I guess they're having the problems, either they don't have the card to get in the building. So I think that they have to address that again, because if they don't have it, they need to go back to the office and try to get it again. Because opening the doors for other tenants, it's I know we're not supposed to do it, but I mean, you know, it's a give and take. I'm not even gonna say anything on that, it's a give and take. As far as Ramona Diaz just came up here and mentioned my name, so Monday's the only day I have available, if need to. If not, it's gonna have to wait that I get back for a meeting with yourself, myself, and her, and find out what is going on. So that's where I'm at, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay. So before we move on to resolutions, I know that Commissioner Edwards would like to put a motion on the floor.
I'm distressed at what I've been hearing here.
I think we both have kind of the same concern.
Yeah, and I mean, I wouldn't want my wife, my mother to go through what I'm hearing people here. And I guess I don't know what the solution is, but I guess Director could, and I open it up, can we get an update tomorrow or the next day on what the plan of action is? I mean, for the sexual assaults at the cameras, is it contacting the police? Is it contacting the mayor to see if we can get these cameras installed faster? I don't know what the solution is, but I would like us to come up with some type of action plan to deal with it the best we can immediately. Again, I don't know what that is, but I guess I put it out on the floor to you, Director. I would love to come up with like a couple specific actions that we're going to take, even if it's an update in 3 days on what's being done or something. This is horrible.
It's unacceptable, to be honest with you. I know that a lot of the residents that came up here stated that there was police reports, that there are management reports. So that's concerning to me because they are taking, it seems like the proper actions on their end are being taken. So I don't know what it is, as Commissioner Edwards said, that we must now do on our end, and maybe the lawyer can help us, because maybe you know more about this than we do. We don't know the steps that we take in this. So if maybe you guys can help us understand it, because I think there's not a commissioner here that is not worried or concerned about what we heard tonight, basically.
And I want to go back from the staff, commissioners, that I'll be glad to, in response to what I've heard tonight, put together a summary memo for you with the plan of action. I'll be glad to do it. I would think that, I would ask that you give me for the week, next week, because I will be meeting with a couple of these folks that came up tonight to talk about what the situation is and get some specific names, because specificity is everything here. If somebody knows who that person is that's allegedly assaulting folks, we need to know those specific names and specific actions. So we'll be more. So I will meet with George. We will meet with the resident leadership and with the individuals that came up and with the manager, of course, find out what's in her file, what's not in her file, and what complaints have been lodged, and what police reports we may have, and we will get back to you on that for sure. I want you to be assured that we don't take this lightly.
Thank you. Thank you, Director. Is there anything else anyone would like to add? I mean, any of the commissioners?
Yes. My, Director, it's my understanding, and the President, we have talked about this, that these complaints have been taking place with the police department, that they've been filed. There's one individual here that I don't want to mention her name that did take action. Now the other lady, whether she did or not, I'm not sure, which is the one that he actually found them. So something should be taking place here, and other complaints that are in the office, whether you got them or not. But as soon as, and I'm a woman, and I handle things as best as I can. But I feel that I don't even go up the elevator by myself anymore. I always make sure that I'm accompanied with someone, because I know who the individual is, but I don't want to be in the elevator with that individual whatsoever. And that's a problem, because, you know, we should have the right to get in and get out. So anything that could be done with these cameras, and I know you will do your best, Director, I'm not gonna say that you're not, but anything that could be done for these women to feel safe, I mean, it'll be gladly appreciated, because we're living in fear in Fox Hill. That's the bottom line.
And
Director, I don't know if you got a copy of the actual petition that was
I did,
presented to
I
us
did.
today, so.
I did,
It has,
absolutely.
it's a little concerning that almost half the building signed it.
Yeah, of course, that's concerning to me too, and again, I need to talk to staff, I need to talk to the residents one-on-one. We don't need a general statement, we need specifics on exactly who it is and what's happening on that level. And we will get to the bottom of this.
Thank you.
Okay, just to kind of document what you just said, should I make a motion that the director provide us a week from today with a plan of action? Is that reasonable?
If you wish. Your word.
Is that? I make
Yeah,
that
I mean, you
motion.
could either do it as a motion, which would result in a potential resolution, or you can just, essentially, the board can instruct the executive director, however you'd want to do it.
You're the chairman.
Okay, I don't have a problem with instructing him, it's on the record. Director, we just expect within a week from, I guess today you asked for a week, we're willing to give you a week, just to give us something with what are the next steps and how are we going to handle this? Because 3 months from now, I don't want to come back here, and I'm sure no commissioner wants to come back here and hear these things are continuing to happen, so. Thank you, Director. So moving forward to resolutions, resolution number 2026-0101, resolution of the Housing Authority of the City of Hoboken to approve the meeting minutes for December 11, 2025.
Motion.
Regular board meeting. Second.
Second.
Director, questions, concerns? Director, call the board.
Ready, David Edwards?
Yes.
Anthony Forbes?
Yes.
Barbara Reyes?
Yes.
Gene Rodriguez?
She's muted.
She's muted. I don't think she knows how to get out of here. We can just move
Should we
forward.
move on? James Sanford, Erica Seitzman,
Yes.
Carmen Vega.
Yes.
Resolution, oh, sorry. That's it, right? Please, I can go back.
To her, just keep going.
No, I think she doesn't know how to get off. Commissioner Rodriguez, if you'd like to, I guess, text and let us know if you know how to get off mute, or are you just listening in?
Should IT take her off here?
No, that's not.
Request her to unmute, but no.
If it's by phone, I think she's got it pressed up.
Yeah,
And I don't think she understands.
I think she's by phone.
So I guess we'll move forward and then, resolution number 2026-0102, resolution authorizing the payment of monthly list of bills for the Hoboken Housing Authority.
Motion.
Second. I've got some questions.
Questions, concerns?
I've got some questions. I noticed under line item number 17, it's also in Fox Hill, the Section 8 inspections are taking place. I'm just curious, any updates? What are they finding? Any issues? Is it all going well? Just what's the status of the inspections?
I have gotten no feedback on any specific problems. They inspect our housing choice voucher properties, and we haven't been alerted of any that completely failed. There might have been a small finding or two. I don't think Yesenia is with us this evening, who manages that program, but I don't know of any major findings from our housing choice voucher landlords.
Then on to number 47 and 48. We do huge purchases of plumbing, heating supplies, electrical. Are there any co-ops that we could participate in that would help us with that stuff? It just, we're spending a lot of money on that stuff. I don't know if a co-op.
Both of those companies are part of cooperatives.
Okay.
So FWM is part of Hunterton, I believe, and so in the large portion of that is hot water heater purchases. I think it's part of Louis or his synopsis had mentioned we had to go through a lot, and those are around just about $12,000.
I'm sorry, I'm having a problem hearing you.
And come on up,
Commissioner Edwards had asked about line items 47 and 48 in monthly maintenance expenses, and that they were substantial in costs, and whether or not we could participate in cooperatives. And both of those suppliers are members of cooperatives. I don't know off the top of my head, but I can provide that to you at a later time, which HT Supply is currently a member of. But I know that FW Web is part of more of a county cooperative, and that a big chunk of the expenditures to them was for hot water heater purchases, as the boilerman had mentioned. Those are $12,000 a piece. We do keep them in stock in case one goes out on an emergent basis, and a few of them have gone down. And then HT supplies a lot of the larger portion of their costs is for the cabinets and countertops as we're turning into.
And then moving down to number 73, the gym insurance. Does that also include Fox Hill? Because I didn't see a designation for Fox Hill in the list of bills.
It does. I should have allocated a portion of it. It is authority-wide.
Yeah, if you could reallocate
Yes.
the Fox Hill.
Yes.
And then separate from that, I think we did it last month, was the flood insurance, correct?
Yes, so typically, the majority of the 27 supplemental flood insurances are paid August, September timeframe of the year. That's for 24 of the policies, and then 3 are off year. So there was a policy that the property at 220 Jackson, there was a reappraisal, and so we paid the adjustment last month in the property. But I believe that property has either a January or a February start date on those policies. So there are 3 policies that don't run on an October 1st start for the supplemental flood insurance. They run January 10th, I don't know why, and February 1st. Those are the 3 that are off here.
All right. That is it for me, thank you.
So there's no further questions or concerns, can we call the vote? Before we call the vote, can I just say something? Commissioner Rodriguez did text me, she's having trouble getting off of the mute, but she did say yes to the vote for, I know we're not
Yeah,
supposed to, but I
technically,
just want to put it on record.
technically she would have to vote,
Yeah.
rather than,
And she just texted me if she can vote through me, like if she can text me.
she can't vote through proxy,
Okay.
she'd have to vote directly.
Thank you.
As long as we have 4 affirmative votes, any motion carries. If there was an issue, we could possibly make more of an effort to
get her off mute.
Get her off mute.
Thank you, no problem. I'm sorry, Director, you can continue with calling the vote.
David Edwards?
Yes.
Anthony Forbes?
That's not on at the moment.
He's not on, and neither is she.
So that does create a quorum.
No, but we still
Well,
got
that's
4.
No, we got 4.
Oh, right, of course.
We got neither.
Sorry.
Thank you, Carmen.
Barbara Reyes?
Yes.
Jean Rodriguez? James Sanford? Erica Seitzman? Carmen Vega?
Yes.
She is on. He's on.
Yeah.
Okay, resolution number 2026-0103, resolution to adopt and approve the single audit for fiscal year 10/1/23 to September 30th, 2024 of the Housing Authority of the City of Hoboken conducted by Paul Carey and Company CPA.
Motion. Second.
I just want to say that I want to thank Emil and the director, as well as Commissioner Edwards and Frank, because I know you were involved, all of you guys were involved in working so hard to finally get this audit completed and make sure that it is submitted. So thank you so much.
Here, here.
If there are no further comments, questions, or concerns, Director, could you call the vote?
David Edwards?
Yes.
Anthony Forbes? Barbara Reyes?
Yes.
Jean Rodriguez? James Sanford? Erica Seitzman?
Yes.
Carmen Vega?
Yes.
Yay.
Resolution number 2026-0104, resolution of the Housing Authority of the City of Hoboken approving the write-off of tenants' accounts receivable balances.
Motion.
Second. Questions, concerns?
No.
Director, if there's no questions, concerns, could you please call the vote?
David Edwards.
Yes.
Anthony Forbes, Barbara Reyes,
Yes.
Jean Rodriguez, James Sanford, Erica Seitzman.
Yes.
Carmen Vega.
Yes.
Resolution number 2026-0105, a resolution of the Housing Authority of the City of Hoboken to award a contract for camera replacement.
Motion.
Second.
Questions, concerns? Director, there's no questions, concerns, you can call the vote?
David Edwards,
Yes.
Anthony Forbes, Barbara Reyes,
Yes.
Jean Rodriguez, James Sanford, Erica Seitzman.
Yes.
Carmen Vega.
Yes.
I just want to say thank you because this helps all the residents, so thank you guys. Resolution number 2026-0106, a resolution of the Housing Authority of the City of Hoboken to award a contract for Fox Hill Gardens storm door replacements and concrete repairs.
Motion.
Second.
Questions, concerns?
I would just make one comment, assuming it gets approved, could someone please send this to our two community trustees on Housing for Hoboken, just so they have the... Of course, thank you.
And I just want to say, I think this is one of the things that will solve the gentleman's issue, where he was saying that the cold was coming in through his storm doors, so.
This will replace all of them.
Yes, this will replace all of them, so thank you. Director, if there's no further questions, concerns, could you call the roll?
David Edwards.
Yes.
Anthony Forbes, Barbara Reyes,
Yes.
Jean Rodriguez, James Sanford, Erica Seitzman.
Yes.
Carmen Vega.
Yes.
Resolution number 2026-0107, a resolution of the Housing Authority of the City of Hoboken designating signatories with respect to Provident Bank.
Motion.
Second. Questions, concerns? Director, there's no questions, concerns, can you call the vote?
And David Edwards.
Yes.
Anthony Forbes, Barbara Reyes.
Yes.
Jean Rodriguez, James Sanford, Erica Seitzman.
Yes.
Carmen Vega.
Yes.
Now it's, right, now we ask questions.
Correct, so now we're moving on to new business.
Maya.
Sure. Commissioner Sanford, Vice Chair Sanford, the floor is yours.
Seitzman, not Sanford.
Sorry.
That's okay. So
Can't feel bad.
when we have a lot of concerns and questions that pop up on social media, and sometimes as commissioners, we don't know what's going on, but I think a lot of this can come down to education. So especially with take the NAM McKay issue, if there are things that are new, that are happening, maybe we need to do some more education around it. Like if people are saying, why are you looking at my, whatever they're asking for? I think what people don't understand, that's also a federal law. That is not coming, that we are not here saying that we're looking into your personal information. That actually is coming down from the government, and that's the only way we can stay in business. So a lot of things, maybe we need to do more education around things like that. And unfortunately, in the situation here, we're very sorry that it's happening. And as you know, some things, as Commissioner Vega knows, some things unfortunately are confidential and have to stay within the court system. But there's maybe still some education around that, we could say, or timelines or communication, because as everybody gets super frustrated, we all do, when people aren't communicating with them, and we heard all the frustration today. So maybe it's possible that we work with the RAD board, or we work with our communications team and try to do even smaller, I'm talking out loud in my head right now, but something that tries to get the message out in a larger way about saying, this is what's coming down the pike, this NAM McKay are going to ask for XYZ 1, 2, 3, 4. This is federal law, blah, 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 recite the law, explain, so people have a better understanding of what that is. Unfortunately, when it comes to other issues, safety is paramount, and then but that'll be a conversation for later. but maybe promising weekly communications or promising some sort of updates or something that we could make everybody feel more comfortable. Certain things, our hands are going to be tied, unfortunately. Doesn't mean we don't care, doesn't mean we're not going to do our very best and make sure we can do it, but we can control the communications and how often we do that. Thank you.
Can I add something to that, Madam
Sure,
Chair?
absolutely.
I actually thought about mentioning this when it came up previously. And I think I mentioned this in a previous meeting, probably 6 months ago at this point. While we haven't been directly involved in the Nan McKay initiative with respect to recertification, and I know...
I'm gonna ask that if you do not stop speaking, I'm gonna unfortunately have to ask you to leave. Thank you.
And I know based on a conversation with Yesenia, I know some of the concerns are, well, why do they need this? Why do they need that? I'm not necessarily speaking to that. It's the aspect of, I know some residents have questioned the fact that they're being asked to provide personal information. And this, in terms of the confidentiality of it, this is no different than when personal information is provided directly to the Housing Authority. Nan McKay is bound by federal regulations in terms of confidentiality, maintaining confidentiality, and prohibitions against disclosure of this personal information, which if found to be in any way reckless or intentional is punishable criminally, actually, not just civilly. So it's not just a financial penalty, there's a criminal penalty. So I do want to just point out, again, not that we've been directly involved, but I do want the residents to know that there are very strict confidentiality requirements here, and that I would encourage residents to trust the fact that their information should be safeguarded by Nan McKay, and that Nan McKay is very experienced at doing this. They know the procedures, they know the regulations, they're very familiar with them. So hopefully that'll give residents a little bit of peace of mind in that area, the confidentiality here.
Thank you so much. I kind of want to piggyback on something that Ms. Seitzman has said, and although I hear you, I'm going to disagree with you on something. I know that the director and the staff have done everything possible to educate the residents. The problem is that when we have the meetings, no one shows up.
Yes.
And I'm not saying in the senior buildings we probably do have a bigger turnout than in our family buildings. And I'm saying this from a resident standpoint. I'm not saying it as a board commissioner. I have been to those meetings. And if we had 3 residents, it's a lot. So it's not always about the housing authority not providing the information. We're trying to get the information out. But if you want the information and you want to educate yourself, then you have to get involved and you have to go to these meetings. And then maybe we can prevent everything else and individuals not understanding why we're asking or why Nan McKay is asking for all these documents. I know that they have been ready to answer those questions at the coordinating meetings. But what do you do if they're not showing up? And I'm just being honest, I know it's probably devil's advocate in this point, but I'm saying it from my point of view. Although I understand it, I think you do have to give credit where it's due. They have done everything possible, the same way they have done everything possible to keep everyone aware of the redevelopment and what's the process and what's going on. That's why these meetings are happening, to keep our residents aware and to let them know and to educate them.
Sure. This wasn't a criticism of the staff. It was
Yeah.
more of a way of, we're hearing things, so my brain is going, how do we work together? What can we do to make better as a team? Not that saying that anybody's not doing their job.
No, I
But it takes everybody to get it done. So I don't know what, we could all have to just get it done. And if that means everybody has to do a little more together, then we have to do more together to get it done. It's not a criticism, it's more like, how do we get it done?
Thank you, and I'm going to weigh in. I thank you for your comments, Chairman and Erica. But I think we can always get better. And we've done a lot, but I think we can get better. And I think us getting together and putting our minds together and saying how might we get the message out
whether that's up on our website with a video that explains things clearly, that type of thing. Some more communication through our newsletter, have a whole section on that in our newsletter. So I appreciate it because there are things we can do better. I will continue to say we are responsive to residents when they call or want information, but we can always get better. I live by those words, so we will work on that. I hear you loud and clear.
Thank you. Do you have anything else?
Madam,
Absolutely.
thank you. I think that once you give the director, once you get the report to the commissioners as far as what's going on in this building, after that, I think it's important to get either counselor, therapist, or someone to come in and have a meeting specifically for the tenants that live here because of the fear that this person embedded in them, and see how they could, help the situation in any shape or form. We'll be gladly appreciate it as well.
Thank you, and if anyone has any other ideas as this week goes along, great idea.
I have some ideas.
I'll be glad to include those, and so call me, talk to me, resident staff. Clearly, just in the short time that we've talked about this report coming, I do intend on meeting with the resident council here early next week to get a brainstorming session coming, and once that's done, also a meeting with all of the residents to talk about the plan and where we are and the things that we can do. So I really appreciate that comment, Commissioner, and let's continue that because I want to hear you. So we will be here. I will be here this coming week talking to you, and I would not put out a report to my commissioners without talking to you, residents. So we will get together and we will talk about that. So expect that next week. Thank you.
Commissioner Edwards, I know you had several questions.
I guess really to Frank or whoever, thank you for the updates on the TAR. A question and a comment. One, there's no dates on this report. It should be helpful to add a date. Number two, I can never remember, what's PIC? And why is PIC so different than the occupancy percent?
So, our occupancy is how many people are in our units, and our PIC number is how many people have recertified. So every year, we have to recertify everybody annually, and how that gets done is, like now, for example, Nan McKay will come in and they'll do it. That number represents how many people, we need to be at 95%.
So I'm looking at occupancy 97%,
Yes.
PIC 86, so 11% of the people haven't recertified.
No, I don't think of it that way. We should be at 95% occupancy and 100% PIC. PIC should be 100% at all times because technically that means that everybody's recertifying and we're submitting on time. That's the goal. So it doesn't necessarily tie into the occupancy per se. So occupancy is just strictly what apartments are occupied and what apartments are not. Now for PIC, a lot of the issues that had gone through could be a combination. Not necessarily everybody that's not in PIC was not recertified. It could be an issue that something went through with an error and it's sitting in the queue to be cleared. And that's something that Yesenia is working on right now. There's going to be, and I believe she spoke to her about that she's about to pull some time aside to just go into PIC. She did that a few years ago and it was very successful where she was able to kind of just dedicate some time to that. Now that we've transitioned over to Nan McKay and things are moving in a different way, it's the perfect opportunity and we need to get those pushed through whatever that is.
So each month as we look at this Nan McKay's success, we'll be seeing those numbers go up. Or percentage go up, excuse me.
Well, no. Technically, Nan McKay is not submitting to PIC. But yes, it should, in essence, be that if everybody shows up and if Nan McKay recertifies them and if there's no errors, you have 100% PIC. So I think that we should, in the next, I would say, I think the best we've seen in the near future was like 99, 98, and that's where we always were. This number is extremely low right now and unusual. So I believe that it's a batch that is sitting in the queue. That something happened with the transmission, and that's what she's going to take a look at first to make sure that that's not that. by next month, and after Jasenia looked at the actual pick, we might be able to give you a better number of really who is unrecertified. But that has been one thing that has plagued us over the years, is not, families not coming in for recertification. It started during COVID, it got a little out of hand, through the courts and through everything that we've been doing. Believe it or not, the parking, when we gave out parking, that made the most recertification impact, because we wouldn't give a parking space without recertifying. So, little things like that. So I do believe that within the next couple of months, you should see that number significantly increase. And then it's a matter of, once we're there, I think that will probably stay there. I don't think you should ever see it drop below 95.
Can I add something to that? Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, Frank.
No problem.
That's part of the non-payment initiative as well. The Housing Authority will not enter into a court-ordered repayment agreement with anyone who has not recertified in the last year at their annual recertification, unless a promise to recertify within a reasonable period of time, which is probably about 2 weeks max, on a case-by-case basis, is part of that agreement. So that's another tool that we've already had a few people who've come in and met with us who haven't recertified in multiple years, who I think are probably still in the queue, because I know they've just submitted some paperwork, but they've essentially committed to recertifying. So that's another goal, is anybody who comes in to meet for the TAR cases will be cross-checked against recertification, and there'll be no agreement without recertification. You also have, there's always no transfer without recertification, things like that.
And if we haven't been clear, the PIC stands for Public Housing Information Center. It is the system that HUD uses nationally for every single housing authority, resident, everywhere. So if we have a move out, for example, we know they've moved out, we submit certain paperwork or online to HUD saying this person's moved out. Now, hopefully, there's no mistake anywhere in that paperwork. There's one digit off of the social security number, and HUD pops it back, and now it shows as a 0 in PIC, and we have to go back to that system and correct that issue. As we talked, if somebody doesn't come back in to recertify, we are penalized for that, and then we're contacting the resident saying, you need to come in, you need to come in. I mean, eventually, we probably have to be good enough to, the only answer we would have in the end is an eviction action against that resident that didn't come in, but we struggle with those issues on a daily basis. And again, if HUD has made a mistake, then that also pops it out. So we talk with the folks over at the PIC Center, what is wrong with this particular file, why do the folks have a problem with it? So we go through that. We certainly, and I certainly expect my staff to do better than 84%, but we need to be that 95% or above. The last statement I'll make is, you may have heard that HUD's going over to a new computer system. Yeah, it's actually, that's not the system, those are regs. The system is a new system that they've been trying to put in. They told us 4 years ago that they were going to put it in 2 months. And here we are 4 years later, and they still, the PIC system is programmed with a very old system. They're having DOS, they're having trouble keeping their system. Yes, they're having trouble keeping their system, they're having trouble getting their head around the mistakes that are in the system. So I'm not saying everything's erroneous, but we have to deal with those when they come in back from that system. So that's the thing. We know our vacancy, for example, we know, and what we report to you is how many vacant units we have. But then you look at the PIC system, and there may be there's some units in there that are vacated that they made a mistake on, so we have to correct those.
And is there any consequence to being below a certain number as far as HUD financing?
There is
nothing on HUD financing.
No, if we're below 95, they could eventually say something to us. It's understandable that we are not in that situation because of our occupancy, but yes, the bottom line is that below 95, they do send something, and they could eventually say something.
Yeah, they'll shake their saber and say, here, get it back up, and we will. That's what we are.
2 other things. One, I know some people have talked about it. The FADA conference is during June, during our meeting. maybe by next meeting, if we're going to look at changing the date of this meeting so people can go to the FADA conference in Chicago?
You wouldn't even actually have to change it. You could do it at the time you adopt the annual meeting notice in May. So you can certainly have those discussions, agree on it, but there's no action that would need to be taken now. It would just be considered when you adopt the annual meeting notice in May.
And then my last thing, you know that we approved the audit tonight. Volcari's been our auditor for a number of years. There were some challenges this year which caused the delay in the audit being completed. It is generally, as a rule, best practices to look at changing auditors every 5 years or so, just so you get a fresh set of eyes. Realistically, not everybody does that. A lot of companies don't do that. Some companies, they change the partner in the audit firm who's overlooking at it. Again, the idea is familiarity. You miss things. For all those reasons, I guess, do I read the resolution into the... I'm going to make a resolution that we change the auditor for the fiscal year 2025 audit. And I had drafted up a resolution, which I guess I read into the record, or what, is that the way to do this?
Sure, you can always make a resolution from the floor.
So here is my resolution, a resolution of the Housing Authority of the City of Hoboken to award a contract for fiscal audit services. Whereas the Housing Authority of the City of Hoboken advertised a request for proposals for firms to provide, I should have mentioned that earlier, we did go out and RFP this, to provide fiscal audit services in accordance with the authority's procurement policy. And whereas 2 proposals were received for fiscal audit services in response to the authority's request for proposals as follows: Nova Grodic and Company, LLP, and the current, the fiscal year 2024 provider called Volcari and Company CPA. Whereas the following proposals received for fiscal audit services has been reviewed by the Procurement Committee pursuant to the authority's procurement policy and has been found to be responsible based upon the evaluation criteria. Nova Grodic and Company at 1144 Hooper Avenue, Suite 203, Toms River, New Jersey, 08753. Now therefore be it resolved by the Chair and the Board of the Commissioners of the Housing Authority of the City of Hoboken that a contract for fiscal audit services is hereby awarded to Nova Grodic and Company, LLP, to prepare the annual financial audit of the authority for the fiscal year ending September 30th, 2025 at a flat rate of $22,530 with an option on the part of the authority for the preparation of the annual financial audit of the authority for the fiscal year ending September 30, 2026 at the same rate. Be it further resolved that the Chief Financial Officer certifies that funds are available for this appropriation. Be it further resolved that a notice of this contract award shall be published and maintained in the office of the Executive Director.
And if I may, Commissioner, just for bookkeeping's sake, I guess we should call this 2026-01.01, the next resolution after what's on the agenda. So I would assume, Commissioner Edwards, that you are making a motion that this resolution be considered by the board.
Correct.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Concerns? Director, can you call the roll?
David Edwards,
Yes.
Anthony Forbes, Barbara Reyes,
Yes.
Jean Rodriguez, James Sanford, Erica Seitzman,
Yes.
Carmen Vega.
Yes.
Thank you. So, Director, I just had some things I wanted to talk to you about in reference to your report.
Sure.
I know last month I asked if maybe the residents from 310 Jackson can have access to 311 Harrison, because they did have it the other way around. Has that been done?
I have to check that. I hope it has.
Yeah.
I will certainly verify that
Okay,
for you.
yeah, I just
Yeah. Yep.
Then I also saw that in our maintenance report, we do have a few bed bug issues, and I just want to make sure that when these issues are being identified, that we're still following the same procedure where the residents next door, and I believe above and below, are also being exterminating?
My understanding is that is always done, and that always
Okay.
should be done. So again, I can check, but that is.
Even here?
Oh yeah, even anywhere. That should be done. And we often do the entire floor if it's a confined space, and we certainly do the common areas.
And I have a complaint as a resident. The buildings are not being cleaned. I don't know what's going on my end, Andrew Jackson South. I don't know if maybe we're short-staffed. I don't know what is going on, but that building has not been cleaned since before the New Year's. And the reason I know is because I have a ring on my door. So whenever he's cleaning, I can see him. And it's not happening. I took some pictures I'll show you in a little while, but it looks really terrible, especially with the salt and the snow and all of that. It's just
Shouldn't be.
not a good look. And then
And specifically your building?
220 Harrison, so I'm sure if it's my building, it's the building surrounding it as well.
Check.
And then, I know you spoke about the Mama Johnson field, and I know that you and I had a discussion last year when we first were informed that the city was going to be doing some renovations and some things to the housing authority. I just want to make sure that we're still keeping in mind that the field belongs to the Hoboken Housing Authority and that we will have the say of what is happening at the field.
Yes.
With the understanding that I know that their MOU is up.
That's right.
And we are going to go into negotiations. I would like to know when will we be going into negotiations and with them. And I want to be a part of that. I want to be a part of that process.
Right, and the Resident Services Committee will certainly be a part of that negotiation process. And what I talked about actually earlier today, about doing the first reach out to the city to say, let's start the negotiation on a new memorandum of understanding for the use of the field. So we'll be glad to include any board input and probably have the lead taken by the Resident Services Committee with that negotiation as we move forward. But there's no doubt it belongs to us. There's no doubt.
Okay. I know I get a lot of complaints, and I personally complain when my children have to go all the way across town to have to play a sport when we have a field in our field, but it's being used by the city, and they won't give it up to us for our kids to use.
Yeah, I think that'd be
That's an issue for
be
me.
a good point of conversation in that MOU.
Okay. That's all I had. If there's no further questions, comments from commissioners, then I would say we adjourn. Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Have a good night, everyone.
Thank
Happy
you.
New Year.
Good night, guys.
Aye.